Hello there! Today I'm going to be showing you how to make some fun Zentangles. So this little Zentangle lesson that I'm going to do, I usually do with my younger students. I find that Zentangles are a wonderful way to show students how to break down steps. So when they look at the finished Zentangle, it looks really complicated and really hard to make. But when we break it apart into little chunks, it actually simplifies and makes our designs way easier. So, Zentangles. I love Zentangles. Zentangles are also supposed to help us calm down a little bit. It's a great little drawing to do. So, to get started, I have a piece of white paper. You could do this on a colored piece of paper, but I'm going to stick with white today. I have a Sharpie marker and I have a pencil. So, another thing you may want when you are making a Zentangle is access to the internet, because you can look up different Zentangle patterns in case you don't like some of the ones I'm working on. So I'm going to begin by taking my marker. I usually jump to marker. I guess if you're super nervous about it, you could go right into pencil, but I'm going to go right for marker. I'm going to take my marker out, and whenever I begin, I start by going to each corner and I make a floating dot. So when I say a floating dot, I mean this dot is not touching any side and it's close-ish to the corner. So I'm going to make 4 dots total. Yeehaw! I'm working with this thicker kind of paper today, so I'm kind of looking at my marker lines bleeding, so I got to be careful. But anyways, I'm going to begin by now connecting my lines to my dots. So, well, I'm going to connect my dots with some lines. There we go. Our lines don't have to be perfectly straight. In fact, I usually add a little bit of a curve to them. You do want to keep it simple, though. You don't want a crazy ziggity-zaggity or wavy line. That's just going to be way harder for you in the future. So, I start out, and you will see me turning my paper a lot. When I make lines, I find it easier to drag towards me than to pull away. I find my line gets a lot more smooth when I do that. So I rotate my picture a lot. So you can see I don't have perfectly straight lines. I have some curved edges to them, and that kind of gives my little triangle a little bit more movement, so that's pretty cool. Now guys, I'm going to split up my box into a couple of different sections. So when I am doing this, I don't want sections that are too small, and I don't want sections that are way too big. So I try to keep with having 5 to 6 sections when I'm done. So I never start right in the corner. I kind of move away a little bit, and I make a diagonal line coming down. So I go from one edge to another, and notice how my lines are actually touching. Yay, they met up. That looks nice. Woohoo! And then I'm going to a diagonal line down, I'm going to zag back up. Zag. Ooh, cool. Now I'm going to zig back down. Uh-oh, I may be making my spots a little small. 1, 2, 3, 4, zig. Oh, I may have saved it. And you see how I practice sometimes before I do this? Zag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. Are you guys impressed that I know how to count? What up? Okay. So I have split up my sections. I find that they're good to go. If I add another one in here, it's going to be too small. So I want to be able to take up the space properly. All right. So now I am looking at my picture, and I'm going to begin with a Zentangle called ribbons. So I'm looking for a medium-ish, smallish sized section right now. This one is huge. I'm not going to do it here. This one's pretty big. No thank you. This one's long. No thank you. I think I'm going to stick with this guy right here. So I'm going to kind of move it so you guys can see it a little bit better. Okay, so we're going to draw ribbons. Ribbons, we start off with straight lines. So when you're doing a Zentangle, you're basically following a pattern over and over again. It's supposed to be, it's supposed to repeat, and it's supposed to kind of calm your mind a little bit. So it's supposed to be a calming thing. So when I am doing this, I'm going to start all the way at an edge, And then I'm going to drag a line, a straight line, all the way across, like that. Now, that's a line. That's not a ribbon. A ribbon has thickness to it. So to make it into a ribbon, I'm going to double it up. I'm going to add another line close to it. These lines are running parallel. Whoa, math talk, crazy. All right, so I got parallel lines running now. Now I'm going to turn my paper, same section, and I'm going to do more, but this time, here's where it's going to get tricky, my friends. It's tricky to draw a line. When you draw a line, it has to stop against the other lines. Yeah, I just made that up. It was golden. Okay, so I take my line, I'm going to draw it until I ran into my first ribbon. I can't draw a line through my ribbon, so I'm going to have to skip and keep going till boom. You see that? I didn't draw through it. Amazing. That's what you should be doing when you add your ribbons. If one ribbon runs into another ribbon, it needs to jump across it. But make sure these lines actually touch. So right here, I got a little nervous there, and I jumped a little bit too early. See how those lines don't actually meet? They need to meet. Here you go, buddy. I helped you. Ah, ribbons. They look so ribbonish. Then I'm going to turn, and I'm going to add. So here's where the repetition comes in. We just keep adding. Oh, I ran into a ribbon. Jump. Keep going. Ah! I ran into a ribbon. Jump. Stay calm. You got this. And go. Excellent. And as we go, they get a bit more complicated because you get more and more and more and more and more ribbons as you go. That one got a little thin as I went. Oh, I'm going to try a diagonal one. This one's going to be crazy. Boop. Boop. Ta-da! Okay. I don't want to fill them too much because then it's going to get real insane. So I'm going to call it good right now. I don't have giant gaps. So, yeah, nice. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be coloring all the negative space. So positive, negative space. Positive space is the space of your object. Negative space is the space around your object. So what you got to think about is it a ribbon or is it not a ribbon? Is this a ribbon? Yes, it is. Is this a ribbon? No, it's not. So this section I'm going to be coloring it in. So I put a dot there. That dot's going to tell me later on that, hey, you see that? You're going to need to color it. And I'm going to go to all my sections that need to be colored and dot them. So I know I'm doing that fast, but I'm thinking ribbon or not to ribbon? Not to ribbon? Okay, me color. Me put dot there. So me know how. Okay. So now what's going to happen is when we color these babies in, we got to be real careful. And what I tend to do is I kind of go around the section first. And I feel it all the way in. Oh, that was nice. So I'm going to keep doing that. And this sort of repetitive, wow, that's a hard word to say. This repetitive motion kind of is calming. So I'm not going to talk as much as I do this, so that you can be like, yeah, Zentangle, I'm calm. Except for me talking, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to let you finish your color of the negative space Zentangle time. There you go. Okay, so I've colored all those sections in, and I have one more step to do. So the cool thing about Zentangles is that you can really add a lot of value to them. So value is arranged from light to dark. I've got my dark areas, I've got my light areas, but I'm missing some of those medium tones. So with my ribbons, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding some shading to them. So I have to think about where the shadow is going to go. So if this is one of my ribbons, beside it, I'm going to add a little bit of shading coming off of that ribbon. Ooh, shadow. The ribbon's going this way. I'm going to add a little bit of shading coming off the side of it. So this is the side, this is my ribbon. I'm gonna add some shadow. Side, shadow. You don't have to do both sides, but I like to. Closer to my ribbon, I try to get it darker, and then as it gets farther away, I spread it out a little bit and get a little bit lighter. It's about pressure with your pencil. Would you look at them pretty ribbons? They're so ribbony. So this Zentangle is a pretty easy squeezy one. You know how to do a straight line? You can do this. I believe in you. Mrs. Joe believes in you. So you may look at this finished thing and think, wow, that's crazy. It actually didn't take that much to do this. Breaking some complicated designs down step by step makes things pretty easy. Take it slow. Take it slow, you know. Don't you know? Don't you know? Alright. Woohoo! One down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 to go. Boom. Alright, I'm going to take my pencil. I'm going to set it down. Pick up my marker. This time I'm looking for a long section. I'm going to choose, I choose you, buddy. Fulfill your destiny as River. Okay, so this one is called River. This one's fun. They're all fun, but I like this one a lot. I start at one end, and watch me before you do this. I add a curved line coming through. Now, my section gets really narrow, so I have to be kind of careful. Maybe I want this one. Yes, I do. I changed my mind. I want this one. I choose you. Fulfill your destiny. You fulfill your destiny by waiting, mister. I choose you. So I go from long corner to long corner. Long, diagonal, pointy corner, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to begin by adding a curved line. Like if you were in a plane looking at the ground and you saw a little winding river. That's what it would look like from above. Now I take my marker and I make it thicker. Making it thicker. Boom. Thicker. Oh yeah. Okay. So here's the kind of complicated part. The next couple of steps, we just follow the leader. I call the beginning line the leader, and what I'm trying to do is follow it. And you follow it until you run out of space. So, what I'm going to do is I start at the very end, and then it's like my line spreads out. And all I do is follow the first line. I'm trying to get kind of close, but not so close that I accidentally run into it. Following the leader, then I end. So it comes back and joins back in. So it's like my line kind of split a little bit. Now guys, I ran out of little space in here, but that doesn't mean my line ends. It just would keep going. Keep it going. All the way to the end. Okay, I'm actually going to turn it a little bit so it's easier for me to do this. Keep it going. Kind of ran into that one. Following the leader, the leader, the leader. Following, sorry. And I keep going. If you were wondering if I'm like this in my classroom, yes. The answer is yes. Maybe a little bit more crazy. Anyways, and then I keep filling these little sections. Little sections. Little sections. And this is the only little guy I have left. Okay. So that looks pretty cool. Yeah, now I'm going to jibbity jump to the other side. Follow the leader. All the way back to the beginning. Or end. And again, we're just repeating. Yeah. I just made a weird bubble in my line. What else is it? Learn a little bit. Okay. Yay, River. You look so neat, Mr. River. Okay, now we've got dark areas, we've got light areas. We are again missing our gray areas. So if we think about it like this part is the highest point, then we'd have shadows in the lower areas. So guys, when you are adding shading, don't forget it's all about pressure. When I want it dark, I push hard. When I want it light, I hardly push down at all. So it is easy to add more shading than it is to take it away. So I'm going to go light until I figure out, oh yeah, I need it darker. So I'm going to start in here. I found a section that's a little bit off to the side. If it's farther away from my middle section, I'm going to get it a little shaded. And I'm going to get lighter as I come closer to the middle. Lighter. Woohoo, you look golden. Okay. So then next I'm going to do another Zentangle. Wait, missed a spot. Must not miss a spot. And we're going to add that to one of our other sections. Wait for it. My OCD is kicking in. Okay. Alright, I accept you as you are. Yay, go team. Okay, we're going to go to our next section in a second. Now that I have these two Zentangles done, I'm going to start my third one. And I'm going to begin one called Ladybug. So, I'm going to pick a medium-sized spot. This looks good to me. And to begin, all I'm going to do is draw some straight lines. These straight lines are going to kind of float above my already sectioned off section. So I make a straight line. It's more like a dashed line or a broken line. So I jump, make another one, jump. And then I turn. Now I keep going. Until I have all the lines around each section done. Boom. Nice. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to actually add a hill to my line. So add a hill. And I am going to fill it in until it's black. So this is where my students start to tell me that this looks like pizza. And these are the pepperonis. And to that I say, stop talking about food, you're making me hungry. Now I want pizza. Thanks, kid. Oh, this is going to get a little funky in here. Got to make it work. Make it work. So I love Zentangles because they're relaxing. They kind of put my mind at ease. And one awesome thing about Zentangles is this. All of our Zentangles are going to be looking completely different. So don't worry about messing up because that's part of it. When I mess up, I tend to try to make it into a new Zentangle. And to me, that's how new Zentangles get invented, is when someone is trying something to make an oopsie and they discover a whole new Zentangle. So when you mess up, try to turn it into something new. So I'm doing the same thing to each line. I'm adding it a hill and filling it in black. now what's going to happen is I am going to pretend I'm a frog, and I'm going to jibbity jump over all these little half circles. So I'm going to start out in between. I'm going to jump over, stop, I'm going to jump, stop, jump, stop, jump, stop, jump, stop, jump, stop, jump. And sometimes I gotta make this line work because it might run into each other. Oops. I made a mistake. That's okay. I'll let it go just this once. Boom. Okay. So, what I'm going to do next, I'm going to do the same thing except for this is not a frog anymore, it's a flying frog, so maybe it's a weird frog. This flying frog isn't going to touch these lines, so it's going to be jumping again, but this line should not touch the one before it. Oops. Line got a little funky. Alright, so I'm just closing up this space now. Until I run out of space. You may have already run out of space. I still have a little bit left. And now if I feel like I colored that part in, or if I feel like I added another one in here, it'd be too small. So I'm going to fill it, the rest of that space, black. Okay. Now I'm going to take my pencil, and if this is black down here, it's going to be kind of grays coming up. So the one next to it is going to be a bit gray. And then after I've done that, basically in these little areas, the little indents, I'm going to have it be gray. Okay? So it's kind of going to come up my shading into that gray area, and I'm going to kind of spread it back out into the white. So I'm shading in between, and then I come out a little bit lighter. So when you are shading, shading is about the pressure you are putting on that pencil. You want it to be darker, you push down. You don't want it to be as dark, you hardly push at all. All about pressure. Under pressure. So I don't want much pressure to be in the center parts of these guys. More along in the crack area, that's when I'm going to push down harder. And a cool thing about Zentangles is it's repetitive. So you're kind of doing the same thing over and over again to finish a tangle, which means it's relaxing. You don't have to think about it too much. It takes minimal thought. Okay, yeah, another one, donezo. Now I can move on to my extra ones. I'm going to follow this one next. Now, I have never done this one. So that means there's a good chance I'm going to mess it up. That's okay. So you know what? I'm going to turn my paper because I think mine's going to be running this way. So the first step has these circles. So when I say circles, I mean ovals. I know shapes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin with an oval. Okay, got an oval here. So then it looks like my next oval is down and over. Down and over. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. You know what? This is going to keep going. This is going to look like it's cut off a little bit. So you see what I'm doing, I'm kind of checking because I want proper placement of my circles. So they're kind of laid out every other, almost kind of like bricks, it reminds me of. Okay. Okay, so now my second step. So my new steps are in red. So we've got lines coming out around it. Okay. So I made these lines curve around it and then opposite. Curve around, down, up, down. Okay. Oh, so I did 2 steps in one. Cool! All right. So then it looks like it wants you to do an extra one above it. See, this is the step where I'm like, all right, row, did I mess it up already? Okay, so my new red ones going above and below it. Okay, so it looks like I got a little bit too far with this one, so I'm going to make it work. Okay, so here's the part where I begin winging it a little bit. And now it wants me to add some black to parts of this to make it a little bit more solid. Again, you don't like the Zentangle, turn it into something else. I wish when I started this one, since remember, this is my first time doing this, I wish I would have done this a little bit smaller and better. No, closer together maybe. Maybe next time when I practice it I'll get it better, but I'm still figuring it out. I like to try ones. I can learn about new ones. It's kind of boring if I do the same one over and over again. Okay, so I darkened most of my circles. Now I'm looking at where to add these shading spots. It's supposed to be in a particular spot. So parts of these lines get thick, and parts of them stay thin. Kind of remind me of eggs. Here's a little tip for you. In case you mess up, make it bold. So whenever I mess up, if you see my lines getting darker and thicker, it's because I messed up and I want to fix it. And the way I know how is by making it dark and thick. Okay, so I don't know exactly if I'm doing this right. Just kind of trying to make it work. This is not my most favorite Zentangle ever, but that's okay. Alright, I need shading on this one now. So I'm going to take my pencil and partway in this part I'm going to add some shading. Not all the way, I'm leaving parts of it white. And then I think in the negative space, so my background space, I'm going to kind of fill it in gray. The parts of it stand out. Now this part wasn't really listed on this card, I'm just kind of like gonna do it. I'm going to call these eggs. Nice eggs. And they're okay. Not my favorite, but hey, I'll work with it for now. Okay, so we're going to move on to another Zentangle. Next, I'm going to do another one of my favorite Zentangles. It's called Cuban. So we started with just simple straight lines. So I'm going to choose this next one, and I'm going to begin by just making a straight line. Easy. Now, I always tell my students you want the next line to be at least a thumb's width apart. So, let's see. About a thumb's width apart, okay? You don't want your lines too close because then it's going to be way too hard. So, when I do this, I usually spread it a little bit farther than a thumb's width. But we're going to add another line that is parallel to my first line, which means they're running side by side. They're never going to cross. Like I'm copying which way that line went. So I'm going to add another line that's parallel. And then I'm going to scooch over and do it again. I'm going to do that until I have the whole section filled up. So I went that way. Now I'm going to go back the other way. Okay, now I'm going to turn and I'm going to come across. So my new line is going to be going perpendicular, so that means it's going to cross. So let's see, I'm going to just come from that end. Okay, and I'm going to scooch. So it's like we're making a checkerboard. Okay. So I've got this checkerboard type of pattern going on. Now I'm going to add some diagonal lines. So let's start with one box. In one and only box, one and one only, there we go, I'm going to add a diagonal from one corner to the next. I'm not going to do the opposite. I'm not going to crisscross it. It's going to stay like this. So then I'm going to go to the box underneath to the right, left, whatever, which way that is. And I'm going to do it again. Boom. Then I'm going to go to the next box. You can't see both corners, but I'm going to pretend that it's there. So the next corner would end about where my finger's at, so I'm going to aim for that. Go back up. Okay. Boom. So I've got the first row done. So now I'm going to scooch over and go to the next row. And do the same thing, the same direction. Until I get all of my boxes, until I have a diagonal line running through every box. Oops, missed one. There we go. Okay, so I've got every box done. I'm going to go to one box and I'm going to go to the middle top, down until I hit that middle line, and then it's going to turn over. So it's like I'm making a little square inside my box. And I'm going to fill it in black. Now, I'm going to do that with every box. I'm going to go down one from the top to the middle line, over, fill it in. And we're going to do this the entire way. Sometimes my students make the line going in the opposite direction. Sometimes they go across. If you did that, your line is going to be going a different way. So instead of coming down to the middle and turning this way, you'd be coming down to the middle and going that way. So it's like the line that comes down is going to cross over the middle line. During this time, I am not actually working this fast. I've just sped the video up because I'm following the same process over and over again. Now that I have every box done and filled in, I take my pencil and I have two sections right now that are white. I'm only going to fill one of them in. So I'm going to shade one of them in, leave the other white. Again, I'm not actually working this fast. I've sped the video up, so don't panic. Okay, I've got it all nicely shaded, and now I'm ready for my last Zentangle. So since I've been doing, this one's kind of like straight and geometric, I'm going to have something in the middle to kind of be curvy and wavy. It's kind of like I did all straight lines over here, and then all crazy wavy lines over there. Whoops, my bad. So let's see. Let me pick a pattern that I've never done. I want to try something new. Got to think about where I'm going to put it, if it fits the space well. Let's see. Oh. These cards are brand new, so they're really hard to pull apart. I want that one. This one. Liter, it's called. All right. So I'm going to flip her over, and it starts with a curved line. Let's see, I feel like everything's going in this direction, so I'm going to break it up. I'm going to go in this direction next. So I start with a curved line, and remember, you can choose to copy me, or you can look it up on Google. Okay, so I just keep on going, huh? I'm going to keep adding some hills coming out. First, I'm going to try to fill up this space. Okay. Then it says to have inside ones. Do my first one, draw a little inside. I want to be careful not to draw too small though, because this marker is pretty thick. Okay, then inside all of them, I draw a straight line with a little bubble at the end. I'm supposed to have 3, I only fit 2 in there, whatever. So I'm checking this one to see where they shaded it at. I think I'm going to actually color the negative space. Fill it in and make it black. I don't have a lot of negative space. So I want this tangle to stand out, which means I'm going to add some contrast. And ta-da! Now I'm going to take a pencil and add some shading to the ones behind. Not a lot, just a little here and there. So I've sped the video one more time to add shading, and now I'm checking my work. Do I need to fix anything? How do I like it? Ugh, I don't like this one, so I'm going to add some more lines to it to make it better looking. If you like it the way it is, leave it. No problem in that. So right now, check your work, see if you like it, fix anything that needs to be fixed, and then sign your name. Okay, I hope you had fun making Zentangles. I love them. They were my favorite things to do. Okay, Mrs. Joe out.